Good evening. Here is the world news from BGI TV Babagbagede Imo TV. I am Morire Rebila Lawal. First are the major headlines for the world news. No official register for missing persons in Nigeria, FG. FG to ban aviation workers' strikes. Senate confirms ex-IGP RSC as PSC chairman. Fish out marketers responsible for long fuel queues, refs to scarcity marketers. As governor, I have not seen new Naira notes. Autumn. Nigeria plans to spend 6 trillion Naira on fuel subsidy, sales El-Rufai. Abductor snatch women are charged in Osogbo, demand 5 million Naira. Drama as beggars reject old currency in Kaduna. And on foreign, Chris Hipkins sworn in as New Zealand PM. Finally on sport, Offerham forced Stuttgart to 2-2 draw. Now the news in detail. The federal government on Tuesday said there is no official register for missing persons in Nigeria. Adding that there are no reliable national data on the number of missing persons because there is no official register. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Saidia Umar Farouk, made the disclosure during a stakeholders meeting organized by the ministry in collaboration with the National Human Rights Commission, NHRC, the International Committee of the Red Cross, ICRC. Saidia, who was represented by the Permanent Secretary, Nasser Warzo, stated that currently has no national structure or standard operating procedure, SOP, to tackle the humanitarian consequences of disappearances. The federal government was very concerned about often neglected and tragic humanitarian and social issues, irregular migration by many Nigerians, including children across borders, the Mediterranean Sea and Sahara Desert, in search of safety and a better life each year, often contribute to great risk of disappearance, as the latest figures show that Nigeria is recorded over 25,000 missing persons, including over 14,000 children out of the 64,000 disappeared persons across Africa, the minister said. Head of ICRC Nigeria delegation, Ian Bozin, revealed that over 13,000 families across the country were looking for their missing loved ones. Moving to the next story. The federal government on Wednesday apologized to air travelers over the industrial action of the National Union of Air Transport Employees, the Air Transport Services Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, which halted inbound and outbound flight operations on Monday. It is also vowed to enforce the section of the Civil Aviation Act 2022, disallowing employees from embarking on flight tripping strikes in the future. First, we apologize to our teaming passengers in this difficult moment. There are other ways of channeling issues when they arise, but they are not permitted to go on strike because aviation is an essential service. The Minister of Aviation, Adi Sirika, told State House correspondent for exiting the council chambers on Wednesday. On Monday, local and international flights were disrupted for several hours as workers under the Nigerian Aviation Handling Company declared a warning strike over poor pay. Earlier, the aggrieved employees had issued a 5-day strike notice to the NACO management. They requested, among other things, 100% increment in pay following the general upward review of ground handling changes in the sector. According to a report by The Punch, the NACO management had approached the court to prevent the looming industrial action. Nonetheless, the workers withdrew their services by 12 a.m. Monday, leaving hundreds of air travelers and airlines in limbo. At the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, all foreign airlines on the morning schedule were affected. Some of them include Rwanda Air, Qatar Airlines, and Royal Air Maroc, with some diverting flights to neighboring countries or returning passengers to base. Moving on to the next story. Lawmakers at the Red Chambers of the National Assembly on Wednesday confirmed the nomination of the former Inspector General of Police, Solomon Arase, retired, for appointment as chairman of the Police Service Commission. The confirmation followed the consideration of the report of screening of the nominee presented by Senator Ali Rujika, APC Bauchi Central-led Committee on Police Affairs during plenary on Wednesday. The Punch report that President Major General Muhammadu Buhari retired had on Tuesday requested the Senate to confirm the appointment of Arashi as the new PSC chairman. The President, in a letter read during plenary on Tuesday by the President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawal, said the appointment was in accordance with the provision of Section 154, Bracket 1 of the 1999 Constitution. With this confirmation, Arashi replaces Musiliu Smith, who resigned as chairman recently. To the next story on the world news. The House of Representatives has asked security agencies to go after economic saboteurs responsible for the current fuel scarcity. The lawmakers tasked relevant security agencies to fish out oil marketers that are responsible for ordering the product. The House reached these resolutions following a motion of urgent public importance moved by Leke Abejide on Wednesday. Moving the motion, Abejide said, despite the approval of the budget for PMS subsidy, the country is battling with fuel scarcity. He lamented the disparity in the price of PMS across the country, noting that there is an allegation of drop in petrol supply to marketers by private depot, which is creating a dangerous mindset in the country. Abejide said the scarcity is associated with saboteurs among some of the key stakeholders who deliberately manipulated the system. Due to the scarcity, Nigerians are exposed to all sorts of hardships, which has resulted in a hike in transportation fares and high cost of some major food items. The House therefore resolved and directed relevant House committees to investigate the matter within 48 hours and report back. It also resolved to invite relevant regulatory authorities to appear before the leadership of the House on Thursday, 26th 1st, 2023 by 2 p.m. To the next story. The governor of Benue State, Samuel Otom, has revealed that despite his position, he has yet to see the new Naira note. He said this on Wednesday as he backed calls for the extension of the deadline for changing the old Naira notes to the redesigned one. Otom said he was concerned about the short duration handed to Nigerians to effect the change of their old notes to the new ones, considering the rural dwellers who are yet to be aware of the development and the fact that the new ones were scarce. Speaking at the government house in Makurdi when the governing council of Joseph Sanwan Tarke University, Makurdi, Justum, paid him a visit, Otom said, as a governor, I have not seen any new Naira notes despite 6 days to the deadline. What will happen to the man in the village? I joined the Senate in calling for the extension of the change of the currency from the old one to the new one. Our people are already going through pains of insecurity in this country. A majority of the people are suffering. Things are not okay in the country. Mr. President should know this. However, correspondents report that the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, at the weekend, took its new Naira bills campaign to market in Benue State. To the next story. Governor Nasir El-Rufai of Kaduna State has disclosed that Nigeria has planned to spend 6 trillion naira on fuel subsidy for 6 months, 4 trillion naira to subsidize the naira, and 300 billion naira to subsidize electricity in 2023. The governor, who spoke during the 12th Kaduna State Council on Health meeting in Kaduna on Tuesday, said a 6 trillion naira on fuel subsidy, which is a quarter of the budget, is more than the entire budget of state and local government on health this year. According to him, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, has not remitted anything to the Federation account since the last quarter of 2021, which had forced Nigeria to depend mainly on import duties and taxes as revenue allocation shared by the 3 tiers of government. He said the dwindling revenue has forced states to reprioritize their spendings and cut their expenses. The governor explained that the Kaduna State government is working hard to achieve its goal of making healthcare affordable and accessible to the people, but this cannot be done without cash backing. He said the state is managing by depending on the little amount that comes from the Federation account and its internally generated revenue. According to him, our goal is to achieve universal health coverage for all residents, We hope to complete the 300-bed specialist hospital in Millennium City in the second quarter with a nuclear medicine center to help tackle the menace of cancer and serve as a source of medical tourism. Moving on to the next story in Osun State. A 32-year-old woman and her child have been abducted at the Osun. A 32-year-old woman and her child have been abducted at the Osun Kobongowe area of Osogbo. The incident, as confirmed by the Osun State Police Command, happened on Tuesday. Police spokesperson in Osun, SP Yemisi Opalola, said a report of the abduction was made to the police and the machinery had been set in motion to rescue the victims. Senior pastor of Union Baptist Church, Odiolowo Osogbo, Reverend Sunday Adeoye, announced the kidnap of the woman and her child in a statement issued by the church on Wednesday. The spokesperson of the church, Mr. Olumayowa Fagombe, quoted Reverend Adeoye as saying the woman was kidnapped while returning from her shop. The woman and her family are members of the Baptist church, and she was slated to be one of the teachers in the teenagers ministry of the church. The abductors have reportedly contacted the victim's husband to demand 5 million naira, which they instructed must be paid into the victim's bank account. The news agency of Nigeria, NAN, report that the abduction is a third in Osun since the beginning of the year, with money allegedly paid to secure victims' release. To another story in Kaduna State. There was a mild drama at the popular Kanu Road, Kaduna, on Wednesday when some group of beggars rejected old 1,000 naira notes gifted them by a good Samaritan. Correspondent who witnessed the drama narrated that a young man was accosted by 3 beggars on wheelchairs as he alighted from a bus. Realizing they were asking for a handout, the man took a 1,000 naira note from his wallet and stretched it out towards the most senior beggar among the 3. However, in a rather hilarious reaction, the beggars looked at themselves, swiveled their wheelchairs around and moved away from the young man, rejecting his offer. Speaking to onlookers, the young man, who identified himself as Caleb, said, "They beggars came to me, asking for alms. I gave them what I had on me, but they rejected it." The young man explained that he only had the old currency notes and have not been able to get the new ones despite his efforts so far. Moving on to the foreign story. Hundreds gathered at airport to applaud Jacinda Ardern as she left New Zealand's parliament to resign as Prime Minister on Wednesday before Chris Hipkins was swiftly sworn in as a replacement. Ardern said last week she no longer had enough in the tank after steering the country through natural disasters, its worst ever terror attack, and the COVID-19 pandemic. Hipkins was sworn in by Governor General Cindy Kiro during a ceremony in the capital, Wellington, saying he was energized and excited by the changes and challenges ahead. "This is the biggest privilege and responsibility of my life," he said. The 44-year-old is now tasked with reversing the government's sagging popularity, which has been hampered by a deteriorating economy and a resurgent conservative opposition. Ardern made her last public appearance as Prime Minister earlier on Wednesday, walking out of the distinctive BF Parliament building as hundreds of staff and onlookers broke into a spontaneous round of applause. Completing the world news this hour is a sports story. Super Eagles defender Kevin Akpoguma was in action for Hoffenheim, who forced visiting Stuttgart to a 2-2 draw in the Bundesliga on Tuesday. Akpoguma was a doubt for the game against Stuttgart after suffering a knock in Hoffenheim's last game against Union Berlin, where he went off on 42nd minute. But he passed a late fitness test ahead of Tuesday's game and was introduced in the 28th minute of an injured teammate. Hoffenheim were heading towards back-to-back defeats before Adrian Kramaric netted the 94th minute to help his side with a share of the spoils. The draw saw Hoffenheim remain in 13th position on 19 points and are 5 points above the relegation zone. And in another Bundesliga game, Chidera Ejuke did not feature for Hertha Berlin, who suffered a 5-0 loss at home to Wolfsburg. Ejuke is currently sidelined with a knee injury for Hertha Berlin, who are winless in the last 3 games. That ends the world news this hour from BGI TV. Before we go, some major headlines. No official register for missing persons in Nigeria, FG. FG to ban aviation workers' strikes. We also brought to you, Senate confirms ex-IGP Arase as PSC chairman. Also, fish out marketers responsible for long field queues. Reps to marketers. And finally, Ofeam forced Stuttgart to 2-2 draw. For more updates on YouTube, our handle is Babagede Imo TV. Kindly subscribe and click on the notification bell. Select option all to access our broadcast. On Facebook, Bagede Imo with Alawiye Adebayo. Please like and follow the page. On Instagram, Bagede Imo _22. For advert placement of your goods and services, coverage of events and functions, please dial the phone number streaming on your screen for advert placement only. Thank you for watching. I am Morire Rebila Lawal. Good evening.
Oh, na, na, na. If you want to know what's going on in city, or you want to listen to the latest news and gist, no stress, oh, just tune to BGI TV. BGI TV, you're one in a